Mm, mm, mm.
All right, so All right, welcome. I'm about to share my screen with you guys. So give me a moment. Okay. Give me 1 second here. Perfect. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right, got some things we're going to cover today. First thing, so if you're at the stage where you have already made an offer to someone and they've at least verbally agreed to the price or to your offer. So I'm not sure. Let me see who's here real quick. Okay, so Felisa is here. All right, so Felisa, what you're going to do now on the property that Hector agreed to on the price, I'm going to put this link into the chat. You're going to go scroll down to where it says step 4. You're going to click on this button, which will allow you to submit an e-sign. And all you're going to have to do on this Google form is you're going to put your email. You're going to put Hector's name or the name of his company. And you can kind of see the name of his company on the comp, so where it shows ownership, okay?
Okay.
You're then going to put his email address, which you already have. You're going to put the date of the agreement, which is today. You're going to put the property, the purchase price. I think for the one that he mentioned that 140 was okay, you put 140 there. You're going to leave this part blank because it already has tenants. Let me show you more or less what this will look like. Because I'm logged in, it looks a little different. So hold on a second. This is what it will look like for you.
And it's inside the site, this property submission form.
Yeah, I'll add it. I'll just turn it on so you can see it. But so you're gonna choose where it says seller closing costs. You're gonna have for seller's closing costs, buyer closing costs. So seller pays seller's costs, buyer pays buyer's costs.
Okay.
And the seller will pay the previous year's taxes. And then for closing date, typically set it out for 30 days. So today's the 8th of September. Can't do the 8th of October because that's a Saturday. So you just go to the next business day, which will be the 10th. You'll hit submit, and then it will send this to him as an e-sign. And as long as you put your email at the very top right here, it will send you on that agreement. Okay.
Okay.
So when he signs it, you'll get a copy of it. All right.
Thanks.
All right, we got that part taken care of. Exit that. Go back here. Okay, and so that is for this part. So I'll go ahead and send this to you in the chat so you have access to it, and I'll let you know once that is available on the app.
Thanks.
All right. Let me see. I don't think she's here. So, all right. Someone else, which would be okay. All right. So Haiti, as you guys know, I don't know if she's on a team. I think she's on the team with Miss Young. So as you guys know, she lives in California and she works, I think, third shift. So she's probably asleep right now. But I'm going to go over her deal real quick. And then she'll do the same thing as far as submitting her contract to her seller. All right, so I'm gonna type this in. There we are. All right, so as always, we're gonna go and click on analysis. Actually, it's not letting me click on it. Interesting. So I click on details. I will go and look at comps. I'll make the comp area. Oh, this one's kind of small already. So I'll still make it maybe a 0.3. Let's see if I can kind of, okay, perfect. And yikes, not able to get too many comps here. And this is for the last 24 months. So this, by the way, Haiti got this seller by just sending the text messages that you guys have access to in the script. Because she works third shift, she's not able to make phone calls. So she just sent text messages to the seller list that we gave her. Okay, and that's how she got this deal. Same thing you guys can do as well. So with this one, because looks like some weird stuff has gone on there. Very tough to see. Haven't really had anything that sold. So this is 44,000, 25,000. Wow, my gosh. Okay, and this is a major city in the United States. All right, cool. So what I'm gonna do here, I don't normally do this, but I'm gonna take the zip code and look it into Zillow real quick. Just want to get an idea of what is being sold in that area. Okay, same zip code here. Wow, is that really okay? So this one is at 18,000, but it's a foreclosure, so that makes sense. And it's gutted, so that makes even more sense. Okay. Just trying to, so even though these are for sale, these are not sold, right? Idea of at a perfect condition, what would something go for in the area? Okay. This particular seller mentioned that the property is vacant because tenant has moved out. Okay. Boom, but occupied by tenant. The tenant's happy. Okay. So this one is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. They're looking to sell this one at 110. Has a tenant involved with it. Yeah. So I would assume that the max, I would assume that the max ARV would be 110. So tough to say. I'm now going to go on Zillow right here underneath for sale. You can change this. You can click on sold, and Zillow will show you the things you have seen for sold within the zip code as well. And I might have to filter that a little more. Not any value from Zillow. Okay. Just like I had the same issue with PropStream, not getting many values. So I'm going to have to assume conservative 80,000. All right. So I'm going to save this as a comp. This is crazy. This is the best that I'm able to pull up on this. This is ridiculous. So we're going to make an offer with them. We're going to go here. We're not going to pay 80,000, right? Because that's that is basically, I'm going to use that as the ARV. So give me a moment real quick. There we go. So just gonna copy and paste the information from over there. And we will make that offer here. Zip code. Anyone have questions on what I just did? Does it make sense? You guys are good there?
You're doing, I'm asking, you're doing an offer where you don't have really good comps, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 And I wish, I wish that there were good comps. So I'm gonna have to put after period value of 80,000. He didn't give us an asking price. So he did, however, buy the property about 5 years ago for 10 grand. So I'm gonna assume that 30,000. Just making assumptions. If we're able to get it at a 40% discount, that would be a 60% purchase price. Yikes. And that is, let's see something real quick. I think that's off of my other one. Yeah. So let me go back up here. I would assume that's probably worth closer to. Okay,
I have a question. Why did you put 40% of asking?
Just trying to get the biggest discount that makes sense.
Okay.
When you're buying things, so again, investors do not trade dollar for dollar. So the property is worth 80,000 at best. 50% of that would be 40 grand. So you don't trade dollar for dollar. So even if it's worth 80,000, let's say it's at best condition and it's worth 80,000, let's believe that it is. You don't want to pay 80,000 for it, right? That's a zero sum game. If you pay 60,000 for it, then you have built in 20,000 equity.
Okay.
So for this one, and I might still do something like that. All right, just want to do this one real quick. What's the name of it? Okay. All right, there we go. So that is that. Any questions on what I just did?
I don't.
Okay. No one else has any questions? Everyone's good? So I just made two offers. One is for cash and one is for seller carry interest only. All right. You don't know what someone's going to take until you ask. So if someone's like, how do we know that they're going to take that we don't? You make an offer, you figure out, you open the conversation. Okay. So that's how it works in real life. All right. Now, mental stuff. So let me say this real quick. Hank, are you able to say yes or no real quick? Are you able to speak for a quick second?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Hank, do you remember when you and I would go to Lincoln Square, and there was a
Yes.
and there was a waitress there, like a middle-aged lady?
Right. She was like the head hostess.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me show something real quick. Okay. Let's see. Okay. You guys can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So her daughter is Daylin. Daylin is her daughter, and her daughter is 15, right? So we have a 15-year-old, for no offense to people who aren't 15, who is basically kicking some of you guys' ass, who's in high school, right? We have a gentleman who recently got out of jail who is closing deals. We have people who live in California who are doing deals in Indiana, St. Louis, etc. Right? So this works for anyone that is willing to work it. All right, you guys follow me? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So there are no excuses outside of just being honest and say, like, I don't desire it that much to actually do it. Like, I respect you more if you just say, like, I don't, I'm not really trying. I'm like, okay, cool. So if a 15-year-old can do it, if someone who literally, got out of a really, really rough situation less than a month ago can do it, I believe that you can do it. The question is, do you believe you can do it? And that solely has to deal with what's in your head. All right. So back to mindset. You guys may have heard this parable before or not, but I'm going to quickly go through it. There was once, and I'll make it into a lady and not a man. So there was this lady who was living in New Orleans, right? Or New Orleans. And she had a house. And for a while, people were talking about like a flood coming, right? Like, oh man, you got to hurry up. I mean, it could be any day now. Now, this rumor of a flood coming took place for over a span of 10 years, okay? Like 10 years, people talking about this flood and how people should move, all this stuff, and many people didn't. One day, there was like this really crazy rainfall, and it continued for about a week straight, okay? By this time, the water levels were getting up to about a porch level, okay? So at this moment, the lady was on her porch, right, the home that she had paid and bought for, and there was someone on a smaller boat that said, "Ma'am, the water's rising. Would you like to climb aboard our boat? We're going to go ahead and travel to Baton Rouge." And she says, "Oh no, I don't need that." She says, "Oh no, sir, I'm just fine. I'm praying for the Lord to rescue me." The man said, "Okay, all right, that's cool." So a couple days go by and the water levels rise as they do. And she's now on the second floor of her home. And she is looking out the window, and the water is literally like in puddle formation, right? The water is basically a little bit above her ankles. All right. And there comes another boat, and this one's much larger. They didn't have much room on this boat, but it was much larger. And a guy yells from a megaphone, "Ma'am, do you want to come aboard this boat? The flood's rising, and we don't know just how long it's going to be." "Oh no, sir, I'm fine. I'm just praying I'm waiting on the Lord to answer my prayers. I'll be just fine. I'm a God-fearing Christian. I believe that he's going to come and rescue me. He's going to save me. I have nothing to worry about. I don't need your boat. I'm good." He said, "Okay. All right, ma'am." The next day, the flood is above her roof. And so she's now sitting on her roof. and a helicopter comes by. And on the megaphone, the guy on the helicopter says, "Ma'am, let me drop this ladder down so you're able to climb aboard." And she says, "Oh no, I'm fine. I'm waiting on God to send me a miracle so that I'll be saved from the flood." He said, "Well, ma'am, are you sure?" "Absolutely. I trust without a doubt. I have God-fearing faith that he will save me." A day goes by and she drowns. She wakes up and she's in heaven. And she says, she looks at God. She said, "God, why didn't you save me? I prayed. I believed. You said all I needed was belief. All I needed was faith. I had that. I made sure that everyone knew that I had more than enough faith necessary for you to save me. And I believe that you were going to save me." And God looks at her and says, "I sent you a car. I sent you 2 boats. I sent you a helicopter. All you had to do," I'm putting my words now, "all you had to do was get your lazy ass in the helicopter or get your lazy ass in the boat." And here's what I'm saying to you guys.
Waiting on the cruise.
You guys, many of you guys are pretending that you're waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. Stop the bullshit. There is no perfect time. When you have an opportunity to go from one area that you're in to the next, take it. Take it. Many of us like to pretend and quote unquote pray and say, "Lord, if you would just send me an opportunity where somebody would be willing to help me along and help me, get on my feet and help me be able to make money, I'd do it." And here Hank is, here Marcus is, and here is Leland, and you still choose to do nothing. So what's going to happen is, as I mentioned, you're going to have people that they're going to surpass you. They're going to be on the boat. I'm sure the boat might not have as much room as you might want it to have. It may not have the, I don't know, the Royal Caribbean view. But if you want to drown, by all means, go for it. But you can't say that it's anyone's fault but your own. All right, cool. Any questions on that? I think we're good. There.
Comment, sir.
None here.
All right, cool. So in reference, and then I know Ken's we'll catch up later. So in reference to the fourplex deal that you're working on, I know he's not here right now. The counter to that guy should be 215. 215 is what your counter should be. Hold on a second. Okay. All right, you guys can see it. Okay, so on the second offer, right? Because if you're not understanding at this point, let's see here. Fair market value is 234. So what we'll do here, so we get 85. Yeah. So make an offer letter there. Oops. Yeah. And for that, it's just that one, and we're good. And so Ken, this will be your counter for him. All right, cool. Let me hit the stop share. Any questions though you guys have so far? Everyone's good, right? Everyone understands. Yes.
You changed that percentage because it was a counter offer?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. So let me see here. Give you guys an understanding. Because normally when there is one question, others have the same question. So let's do this real quick. I think this will work. Okay. All right, give me 1 second to share the screen with you guys again. All right, you guys can see this, which says like repair.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what happens is, again, you don't know until you ask, right? You just don't know until you ask. Do not if you make assumptions, let it be off of your experience, not of your fear. All right. If you make assumptions, let it be off your experience and not your ignorance. You don't know until you ask. You just don't know until you open your mouth. So the first offer that I had Ken send him was of a certain amount. So the next offer, he countered back at something else. And so you had the ability to counter as well, right? Even with this evaluation sheet, like if you send out a contractor to look at a property, you're going to give the contractor this sheet that you have in front of you. They're going to be able to go and make their own notes, and it's going to come out with a total as far as what the renovations are. You're going to take the renovation value. You're going to find the after repair value, the ARV, multiply by 65%. You're going to minus the repairs, and then you're going to get what's called a maximum allowable offer. And then right here, where you have like offer 1, offer 2, counter 1, and counter 2, you're going to actually do that with a human being, like the person who owns the property. So in Ken's example, I think the first offer is like 164, right, for the 4 unit. The guy counted back at 2 something. I don't remember. But then I'm saying, okay, we'll make another offer to him at 200,000, and I'm sure he's going to counter back again, and that's fine. That's just part of it. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing to be afraid of. It's just part of doing business, and that's how we do it. So that's why. Okay. Any questions on that? If you guys good there? Everyone's good.
I just have to ask this. Is there a reason why Hector didn't counter? Was he okay with? That's why he didn't counter, because he was okay with the first offer, right?
Maybe. I don't look into all of the psychology behind why people do what they do, only because it goes down a rabbit hole, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like, either it's a deal for us or it's not, and if it's not a deal, then we gotta move on to the next thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. If you notice, like in that negotiation yesterday with the phone call with Hector, if you don't mind sharing with everyone, how long was that phone call?
Oh God, it wasn't very long.
It was less than 2 minutes.
Now, y'all were direct and to the point.
So when you're talking to people, there are some people that when they're selling, it is for a distressed situation. That's different than someone else who is selling for other motivations. Okay. But you don't know until you talk to them. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool. I think we're good. Anyone else have any questions that I might need to answer or touch on, or I guess expound on, or whatever?
I have a comment on something you said earlier on your parable, but I'll wait. Let's get through the meat of stuff first, because my stuff is just my stuff is some of the psychology.
Okay, that's all we're gonna do at the end of this.
Okay.
So anyone who wants the psychology part, we're gonna touch on that now. So what I'm gonna say is this: belief is like so important. Okay. Real quick, I'm gonna put in the poll, and again, these polls do not, you don't share it with anyone, so you can be honest. And just so you know, I mean, there's nothing to worry about on the polls. But in the poll that I'm gonna put in a few moments, I want to know from you, like, do you believe in yourself? Okay, and I want you to be honest. like, do you believe in yourself? And what I mean, what I mean by do you believe in yourself is, yeah. Do you believe in yourself? I don't know.
Are we supposed to see the poll?
I haven't released it yet.
Oh, okay.
Hold your horses, please.
Because my answer, oh, it varies what day you're talking to.
As it says, slow your roll.
Okay. All right. But I did do what you said, Hank, and I put that affirmation on my refrigerator that said I would have a deal before. I said by September 18th because you told us on August 18th. And then I went in there, crossed out by and put before because that old person tried to come out of the cage.
While Leland is doing that, he was talking about the parable, and it sparked something. There are those who think that it doesn't work, or they believe that it's too hard. And you know, whatever you believe, if I'm doing the survey.
Whatever you believe is what you're gonna get.
Yeah, that's right. So it's, you know, as I said, you know, there are those who think that it won't work. There are those who think it's too hard. Whatever you think, it doesn't matter. It's basically what you believe. So when Leland was talking about the parable of the drowning person, there are two philosophies out there in the whole concept of life. And one is FOB as in boy, O, and FOMO. And the FOBO is fear of a better offer. So it's the idea that you've got your foot on first base and you want to steal second, but you never take your foot off of first because you're waiting for someone to hit a home run. Okay. So you're just looking for a better offer. Okay. And, you know, I lost my train of thought on the FOMO. But there are different philosophies that are out there. So again, I talked about the reticular activator some weeks ago. And if you've done any research on the reticular activator, all you've got to do is just put a plan, a desire in your mind, and go to sleep. And that's all. Just put it in your mind and go to sleep. Now, you may not wake up with an answer that day, but the reticular is constantly reticulating. And eventually, and then the little canoe shows up and you don't believe it. And then the boat shows up and you don't believe it. And the helicopter shows up. Oh, it's right. FOMO, fear of missing out. So what I'm saying is that once you get an answer, the first time you get an answer, okay, pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger.
That's just pull the freaking trigger. You said, well, I don't know how to do this. Listen, once you pull the trigger, you will create the plan that's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever had the idea to maybe call a friend or text a friend, and then that person says, "Oh my goodness, I was just thinking about you."
Happens all the time.
So let me, man. So let me,
Kayla.
Let me give you guys an example real quick. And so it's like it happens.
It happens all the time.
It happens all the time. But the difference there is the action. The action is what activated that. The action did that. Many of you guys are on, or like many of you guys know who I am just based on an action that I took. If I did not take a particular action, I wouldn't be able to help you. You wouldn't know who the hell I was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'll give you guys. So this is a movie called Inception. I'm sure you guys may not have seen it, whatever. But the idea of the movie Inception. Oh, look, this was made a point. So it's deeper than this. This is kind of, I hate when stuff like this happens. So this says a thief who steals corporate secrets through the use of dream sharing technology is given the inverse task of planting an idea into the mind of a CEO. But his tragic past may doom the project and his team to disaster. Yeah. Here's a deeper meaning for the movie Inception. The idea was that through a dream, I can plant, or someone can plant an idea or a seed in someone's mind and have that host, that person, believe that it is their idea. So much that they act on it. Okay. And by them acting on it, they begin to make it manifest. Okay.
Mhm.
The parable of the sower and the seed is the same thing. The reason that I talk to you every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. is I'm trying to implant something into your heart or your mind's eye that you are worthy of something. If you're not taking action, whatever you've been through in the past has told you that you're not worthy. Hence, I go to our poll. I only got one person. It's more so. Okay, do you believe you are meant for greatness? Only one person said no. There need to be at least a few more folks saying no. And here's what I mean by that. A belief, when I believe something, not when I want something. When I believe something, I act upon it. When I believe something, my identity is that. Not when I want something, when I believe something. So where number 2, it says, do you want to succeed? Yeah, I expect everyone to say yes to that, right? But do you believe? Belief and want, two different things. Belief, let's look at the word believe. The part of that part in there is the self, like to live. To believe is like, this is me. Like, this is me. Does that make sense? Like, I believe that I'm a good father.
Mhm.
I believe that I'm a good father so much that I purposely want to expose my children to other things. It's not an if, it is that it is, because I am that I am. I believe that I'm a good father. You guys see the difference of that?
And you
Not
are a
I
good
want
father.
You are.
No, I know that. I don't need you guys.
No, I know, but I'm just
But
saying. I'm
I know.
edified.
They don't know me personally though, Hank. So it's all good. But if
I do.
I know, but if I want, me wanting to be a good father is not the same as I am a good father.
True.
I hope you guys are getting that. There's a huge difference. And let me show you how powerful belief is, just real quick, from a historical standpoint. All right. Now, there was this thing called I call it a paper bull, but it's a papal bull of 1455. Okay. And all this was popes, I guess, much like politicians, when they wanted to instill a reason to do what they wanted to do, they had to convince a populace, a people, of a belief. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
if I wanted to rape, pillage, and take what you had, I had to instill a belief in my household that we were more than deserving of basically taking what you had. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Again, this is how powerful belief is. So if I'm able to instill the belief that you rightfully have the right to rape, pillage, and kill, surely you guys as human beings today can instill the belief that you have the right to make money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let me give you another example real quick. Again, the paper bull issued by another pope, which granted Isabella and Ferdinand the ability to quote unquote rule over an area. I just want you guys to think about this real quick. The entire world, and like no disrespect to, but it is what it is. The entire world, like, okay, if you lived in Brazil in the 1400s, and like you were a native of what we now call Brazil, did you know who the fuck Queen Isabella was?
Who?
Exactly. Did you know who she was? No. You didn't even know that Queen Isabella existed. Did you know who King Ferdinand was? No. So the Pope convinced two nations that God, quote unquote, ordained them to be the rulers of an entire continent. And that if anyone didn't agree with what this Pope put in writing on paper, that they had the right to kill, enslave, and rape those individuals. It's like, bro, I didn't know you even existed. That's how powerful belief is, though. That meant that the soldiers who were doing those actions, they had to believe so much in what this guy wrote down on paper that they took action, whether they wanted to or not. Because a want and a belief are two different things. Okay? So if I was a soldier in the Spanish army, I could say, you know, I don't want to kill you, but I believe that is the God-given right of every Spaniard to own, enslave, rape, and capture anyone that is not a Spaniard. Does that make sense?
Not at home.
Unfortunately.
No, but for real, like you guys, I know you were laughing and all this stuff, or some, you know, but does that make sense though? Just how powerful a belief is, even if it's a wrong belief.
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing. This is same stuff over and over again. Blah blah. And here's what I wanted to show people: a single belief, as such, shaped the world that you know of right now. The reason that people in those regions speak Spanish, it is not that is their native tongue. Spanish came from a country called Spain. And if you spoke anything outside of that king or queen's language, which was Spanish, you were killed. If you spoke anything outside of that king or queen's area in the Portuguese Empire, outside of Portuguese, you were killed. Now, how do you know this so much? The second largest country in the world that speaks Spanish is the United States. And that has everything to do with the actual territory that was broken down. From a belief of some madman in the 1400s that convinced an entire religion of Catholicism that it was true. Meanwhile, I don't know if you guys know this or not, in the 1400s, most of those cats who were quote unquote entitled to all that stuff, they couldn't read.
No.
So they had to believe that somebody else was reading them the right thing to do. So it had nothing to do with reading. It had all to do with the belief. That's how powerful belief is. And here's what I'm getting at. You can't believe yourself to take action. There's a problem. That means that subconsciously somewhere you don't feel like you're deserving of the reward. One more example real quick. So in America did the same thing, something called, like, they coined it manifest destiny. As a matter of fact, we might say something like, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That little tale of happiness, that wasn't what they used. It was a pursuit of ownership. Okay. So the idea of manifest destiny was much like the paper bull, which was you, as a descendant of the queen, basically a European, anyone who looks like you have the right to advance as a settler, to rape, pillage, and take. You have the right to quote unquote replace the darkness with light of the ignorance of all civilization. Now, what's very funny about this as well is that even in the 1800s, most of the men who were doing this, they couldn't even read the damn selves, which is pretty funny to me. It's like, bro, you are ignorant. You don't even know what you're doing. But they took action. They believed that it was a God-given right to take over an entire nation. And so with the belief, they took action.
Mm.
That was it. It was just a belief. And then then if you have, for example, if you believe it so much that you share your belief with someone else and you say, hey, the benefit of this belief is that you too can own land, because in England, they didn't allow us to own land. So, but here you too can own land. And then he tells his other friend, and then he tells Bob, and then Bob tells John, and John tells Martin, and then Martin tells blah, blah, blah. Before you know it, you got a band of brothers who are like, yo, this is our country, right? It was a belief. That's it. And I can go all throughout history showing you the same belief, so much so that, if anyone who's Mormon, please share. But I used to live in Utah, for example. The belief for Mormons in Utah was that the actual state of Utah was the promised land. That was their belief. They believed that. They believed that they were willing to die for that. That was their belief. You ask a Mormon, hey, you want to move to New York? They're like, hell no. They wouldn't say hell, by the way. But they say, heck no. You say, well, why not? They said, oh no, Leland, Utah is the chosen land. I'm like, bro, why is Utah the chosen land? By the way, I'm cursed because I don't look like them. So that was another thing that was weird to me. It's like, okay. But they'll say, no, Utah is the chosen land. I'm like, so why is it that Utah is the chosen land? They believe so much that when they founded Utah, they made it exactly similar to Israel. Now listen up real quick. The people that named the places in Utah have never set foot in Israel. You think in the 1800s, someone had time to travel their happy ass from Utah to Israel 5 or 6 times a year so they can duplicate what they believed Israel looked like because they believed that Utah was a promised land? That was a belief. They had never seen Israel. It was a belief. They never seen it.
So how'd they get it so similar and never been there? From the belief? Stories. They believe the stories so much. They named the landmarks like it was a belief. It's belief. They even have all these cities literally named after all the mountains, etc. in Utah off of a belief.
Wow. I had no idea.
Indiana, we have an area called, oh man, Indiana has done something similar. And it was just off of belief. Do you understand how that's why, I'm not bullshitting you. The world that you're in was built off of belief. That was it. Now, whether the beliefs are wrong or right, whether they were just or not, whether they were moral or not, unfortunately, that's not even the question. The question was whether they believe.
Oh, well.
And all I'm trying to get you to do is shape your own world. And it starts with your mind. Look, the quote unquote founding fathers of America believed that America was the founding place, so much so that this is Cairo, Illinois. Okay. It's a large river, aka the Mississippi, that goes all the way up to Cairo and it splits. So when the founding fathers saw that, they said, oh my gosh, surely it is Cairo, Egypt. So much so, y'all laughing. So much so that's what they named it. So much so that if you follow this Mississippi River down, right, further down, it's on Memphis. So much so that when you follow the Nile down, it's on Memphis. Because that's what they believe that so much. As we're laughing because we're like, dumbasses, when you cross the Atlantic, the actual place, but that wasn't the case. It didn't matter. That wasn't the belief was that this is that. And that's what they acted on. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah, belief is powerful.
So the real question is, and I'm gonna put the poll out again and be honest, because if you do, like if you want to succeed, that's something different than belief. All right, that's different. And let me share this with you, with everyone, so you guys are able to see.
Oh.
Memphis is where Cheryl lives. Okay, this is the results. All right, I agree with you guys 100%. Do you want to succeed? Yeah, I can want to succeed. Yeah, hell, I want a 6-pack. But if me believing that I have that I would act on that. Does that make sense? I would exercise specifically for that. So yeah, do I want that? Yeah, I want it. You know, I also want to have a house on the moon. Want and belief are different. It's different. That's why you can talk to someone. Like, for example, I remember when I would live in Carolina, and let's say, you know, like I would see somebody that was a Klans member, and normally people who are Klans members, they don't, and at least in the South, they don't hide it. At least not the ones that I've met. And I would ask them, why are you a Klans member? And the belief was they believe something so much so like you can't even reason with someone who believes something. Okay, the belief was their belief was if my race interbreeds with other races, my race ain't gonna be here much longer. I'm like, okay, that's a thought. Mm-hmm. You know, meanwhile, others are like, bro, there is no race, it's just the human race. There's a thought. But the belief for that is so strong, they're like, yo, my daughter better not talk to nobody else outside of somebody who looks like her father. That was the belief. There are literally people in the world that do believe things so much that they're willing to die for those things. And all I'm asking you to do is to believe in your own greatness. You don't have to die, but you will have to die metaphorically. That old you that is lazy, that old you that is full of fear, that old you that just has like a ton of fucking excuses. Yeah, that motherfucker has to die. But you don't have to physically mortify yourself. We are so blessed right now that even if you didn't want to do something, through resources and through the internet, you could outsource it. Mm-hmm. Like we are really blessed in this generation, like straight up. Mm-hmm. And some of us just kind of squander it. We don't realize the tools that we have at our disposal. Like I didn't even realize that I was paying for years for Zoom to have this little poll thing. Right? So I'm gonna give this poll to everyone one more time. And again, I'm not trying to be mean. I want you to be honest. Just be honest. Like again, I can't see who you are. All right, but just be honest. Like, do you believe that you are meant for greatness? Because if you believe, you will take action.
I know I have.
Manifest destiny. They believe this is like true, but this is so crazy. They believe that someone else's property was meant to be theirs so much that they raped and killed those people for having stuff that was already theirs.
Follow the leader.
Mm. What possessed them to come up with that idea?
Association.
Yeah. It was all at one point. Yeah.
Or strength in numbers. There are a lot of cliches out there. But if you cannot read and write, and that's one of the problems that we face in the Middle East, the literacy rate is like maybe 25%. So if you cannot read and write, then you'll believe what people tell you that, hey, this is what this says.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people ain't trying to read nowadays.
Hello.
Well, but again, there may be those who want to, but if the leaders are reluctant, refused to establish schools and books. Like even here in America, they're trying to rewrite history. Come on now. And we call ourselves a civilized society.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna share this with you guys, and we'll go over this, and we're done. All right. So look, do you believe that you're meant for greatness? The person who said no, thanks for your honesty. All right. Do you want to succeed? I believe everyone does want to succeed. Do you repeat affirmations to yourself? The majority says no. All right. Now here's what I need you guys to understand.
What?
The affirmations are what will firm or confirm or mold your belief.
For sure.
The affirmations are what will mold and confirm your belief. Your mind, unfortunately, because what has been put in, in different environments, already has a mantra that's going on in the back of the mind. The entire thing, like with this movie, is when they would enter other people's minds or their dreams, there was already a theme going on in that person's mind already. And before they could plant a seed of an idea or a lie, right, either one, they had to conform to what was going on in the dream. Does that make sense? Yeah. So like when your mind is on autopilot, like legit, like your mind is already on autopilot.
Sure is.
So your affirmations are ways of you being able to plant seeds to reverse that autopilot, to change that direction. Okay. And like a vehicle, let's say an airplane, when an airplane is flying in the wrong direction, it has to slowly turn around to get back on course. It doesn't just make a dart like a pencil line to get back on course. It has to slowly turn around, right? Much like a ship as well. So your affirmations is to help you get or help you to affirm that you believe. Okay. So if you want to change your belief, change your affirmations or change what's coming out of your mouth, which in part has to do with what's coming out of your brain. In order for you to speak, your brain has to process something so that it can push that speech out of your mouth. Okay. All right, we're done. It is 10:59. Felisa, if you have trouble with that link as far as sending the purchase agreement to Hector, let me know. Any questions from anyone else?
You say it's in the chat, or it's in the community?
Here's what I'll do real quick. I will put it into this chat right here.
Okay.
And there you go. So
thank you.
All right.
Got it.
Thank you again, sir.
Thank you guys. You guys have a great day.
You too.
See you. Bye.